Pennsylvania Railroad, to me at least, has to be the most interesting railroad there was, from their standardization, rich history, and iconic locomotives. But one thing has always stuck out to me since I heard about it, and it grew on me so much that I decided to make a video discussing it. I'm your host, Fred Thurman, and today we'll be talking about PRR Atlantic number 460, the engine that managed to beat a literal plane in a race. Yeah. After returning from Europe and his transatlantic flight on June 11th, 1927, Charles Lindbergh, promoted to colonel and awarded the Distinguished Flying Cross by President Calvin Coolidge, two rival newsreel companies who were each vying to be the first to have their films of the ceremony shown in the New York theaters, chartered a train and aircraft, respectively, from Washington to New York City. Enter 460. 460 was built by the Penzies Juniata shops in Altoona, PA in 1914 and designated as a Class E6 Atlantic. It and its 79 other siblings ran mostly on the northeast corridor between New York City and Washington, D.C. After being replaced by the K4 Pacifics, the E6 locomotives were relegated to charter services because of their high speed. But today was different for the 460, and coupled up to its consist, which was actually pretty short, only being made up by a single baggage car and a P70 coach. 460 left DC at 12:14 p.m. with the video reel in tow, thus starting its journey. The train quickly shot up to speed, already going 90 by the time it crossed into Maryland, but the crew would run into a minor issue as they tried to pick up some water on the go. While trying to pick up some water through the water scoop under the tender, the engineer let the scoop down too early and it ended up scraping against the reservoir. The crew had to make a quick pit stop in Wilmington, Delaware at 1:38 p.m. While there, they used the line side standpipe to top off the tender. The issue was rectified within 10 minutes, with 460 leaving Wilmington at 1:48. Around 2 p.m., they crossed into Pennsylvania, and by 2:14, they reached Prospect Park. It's said that 460 was going 115 miles an hour through the area. However, these claims were never confirmed, and to this day, they're nothing more than speculation. It's still cool to think about, though. I mean, these days there's Amtrak trains that top out at 70. Meanwhile, a century ago, we had these Atlantics over here that can go faster. Anyways, back to the topic. By 2:25, they were entering Philly, navigated the tight clearances and curves in there, and less than an hour later at 3 o'clock, they crossed over into New Jersey. It was the final stretch of the journey. It was go big or go home. With only 21 miles to go, the driver and fireman raked the crap out of their engine to get the best out of it. Throttle to the roof, there was no going back. 460 raced along the line, appearing as nothing more than a blur to those who saw it, the rails humming underneath its wheels. The engineer looked up and there it was, the Manhattan Transfer, located at the northern tip of New Jersey. They made it. The reason why they had to stop here was because steam locomotives were not allowed in the tunnel going into New York. The baggage car and coach were handed over to one of the Penzies electric engines, most likely a DD1 since the GG1 didn't exist yet. Even though the aircraft arrived in New York first, the film brought by number 460 was in theaters hours before the others, thanks to a film processing lab on board the train's baggage car. They had won. It was time for 460 to go home. It had done everything. After the race, number 460 went back to its normal duties until March 1937, when it was loaned to the Long Island Railroad. In January 1939, number 460 was returned to the PRR, but was still occasionally used on the Long Island as a short-term loaner. Starting in 42, and all trains between Camden and Bayhead, New Jersey. In 1951, parts for it were taken off of other E6 locomotives that were going to be scrapped. The drivers on the engineer side are from PRR 1565. The air tanks on the fireman side was from PRR PRR 690. The reservoir on the engineer side was from PRR 782. 460's tender was replaced in 1952 with one from number 1655. The original tender had been transferred to maintenance and way service by then. The 460 was leased to the Pennsylvania Reading Seashore Lines in 1953 before being retired on January 11, 1956. It added to the Penzies collection of historic locomotives in Northumberland, Pennsylvania. 460 stayed idle in the roundhouse for about 13 years. In 1969, it, along with several other locos, were dragged to the Pennsylvania Railroad Museum by Strasburg, where it resides today. 460 is one of the luckier ones since it got to stay inside the building instead of slowly rusting away outside. It's an interesting footnote in American history. Train versus plane, rail against air, the tenacity of it all. This is Fred Thurman signing off, and I wish you all a good day. But before I go, consider the following. If you want the PRR E6 Atlanta model shown in this video, then you can acquire it from Frisco's train starting July 18th. Alright, that's all. Goodbye.